Di Mayo, 1940. I'm not really good with the Spanish part. Charla Juanto Junia de los debe aprovechar la eficiencia de las avones de combate durante la próximos meses pieza enfermía la que se aproxima de la guerra global. Okay. May 1940, a May 1940 fireside chat the government had said they must take advantage of the efficient machinery of American manufacturers for around 50. They wanted to produce and buy 50,000 fighter planes, bombers, and interceptors over the next 12 months. But at the time, they only had 3,000 actual. They only had 3,000 actual planes that were mostly obsolete biplanes from the First World War after the armistice. After that, so what they wanted to produce and buy 50,000 planes for the up-and-coming World War, or the up-and-coming war with the Japanese and eventually the Germans who would declare shortly after. They turned to America's manufacturing base, people like Ford and companies like General Motors. They for tanks, jeeps, for supplies like that. Ford in particular had already practiced mass production and successfully started a plant for this. This is actually where I'll talk about it now. 1903, Ford, a up and coming vehicles manufacturers, however you want to say it. He tried his best shot at opening up a mass production, a larger facility. He failed 2 times before in 1908 he would successfully open at Fort Charlotte Lane in Detroit, Michigan. This is where he would found his first mass production plant. Now, in the early days, in 1908 to 1912, he could only produce about 1 car every hour. But after, even in the economic depression after that, he would be able to harness. People needing work to, in turn, have more assemblers and the assembly base where he could make more cars. And how does this relate to aircraft manufacturing and car manufacturing? 1939, Britain and France go to war with Germany after the invasion of Poland. The Soviet Union would soon after join that war as well. We're not talking about that right now. Like I was saying, the government had a fireside chat with the manufacturing base to harness the massive manufacturing base. They turned to Ford as they funded him for massive basically a massive bomber plant called Willow Run. This plant is the biggest of its time and ever. It's even bigger than some of our, it was bigger than most of our modern car manufacturers. It was home to the B-17, B-25, and the B-34 Superfortress. The Superfortress is the bomber that would drop the atomic bombs. And, well, before that, Ford went to, once again, Ford funded this project from the U.S. government, obviously, but let's see, he had while funding and building this, and when it went into full operation, he had a chronic worker shortage that he needed to figure out, that he needed to solve. He had workers. It really isn't a shortage, it's a housing shortage. Willow Run was about 25 miles from the nearest city, Detroit, and the nearest town from there was only from Detroit a mile or a mile. So people working at the Ford or at the Willow Run factory had to drive 25 miles from Detroit or 2 miles to a nearby town to refill and go far west to the production plant. Well, Ford fixed this when he started building houses on the plant. He used lumber that was cut down to make cheap housing, insulated heating and cooling, to solve this issue. And that's where I'm going to end it here.